Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about a simple but powerful truth. Focusing on yourself is one of the greatest acts of self-respect. It means recognizing that your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being are valuable. Too valuable to be constantly given away to things that do not nurture your growth. In today's world, where attention is constantly demanded and distractions are endless, it's easy to forget that your first responsibility is not to please others or to meet their expectations, but to honor your own journey. Self-focus is often misunderstood. Many people hear the phrase and assume it suggests selfishness or arrogance. But the truth is the opposite. Genuine self-focus is about cultivating inner responsibility. It's about becoming aware of your own needs, emotions, dreams and wounds, and choosing to address them with care and seriousness. When you focus on yourself, you are telling yourself and the world that you matter. You are no longer willing to live reactively, at the mercy of every external influence or demand. Instead, you are living intentionally, building a life from the inside out rather than the outside in. There is great wisdom in understanding that not everything deserves your attention, not every fight is yours to join, not every opinion is yours to answer. When you focus on yourself, you realize that your growth is not dependent on convincing others of your worth, or winning every argument, or staying involved in every conversation. Your growth depends on you, on your willingness to stay committed to your goals, your values, and your healing. It depends on your ability to turn inward and ask yourself, what do I need to thrive? Rather than constantly asking, what do others want from me? Focusing on yourself also invites a deeper level of honesty. It forces you to stop blaming circumstances or other people for your state of mind. It challenges you to look clearly at your habits, your choices, your mindset, and to take full responsibility for where you are and where you want to go. This kind of honesty is not always easy, but it is liberating. It frees you from the exhausting cycle of waiting for someone else to change or for life to magically become easier. You realize that your power has always been within you. Moreover, when you begin to focus on yourself sincerely, you start to notice how much lighter life feels. You are no longer carrying the weight of endless expectations or playing roles to please others. You find peace in setting boundaries, in saying no when something does not align with your spirit. You discover that your energy is not infinite and that it must be protected, nurtured, and used wisely. And in doing so, you give yourself the best chance at living a life of meaning, authenticity, and quiet strength. One of the most beautiful outcomes of true self-focus is that it naturally improves your relationships with others. When you respect yourself, you attract those who will respect you too. When you know who you are less likely to lose yourself in someone else's approval or disapproval. You bring a sense of fullness into your connections rather than seeking others to complete you. In this way, focusing on yourself is not about isolation. It's about building healthier, deeper, and more genuine bonds. In the end, focusing on yourself is an act of love. Love for the person you are, and even more for the person you are still becoming. It is a quiet decision, made again and again, to choose growth over distraction, peace over chaos, authenticity over performance. And it is through this commitment to yourself that almost without effort, everything else in your life begins to fall into place. Silence is so often misunderstood. In a world that rewards noise, quick opinions, instant reactions, constant updates. Being silent can sometimes be mistaken for weakness, fear, or passivity. But true silence is none of these things. True silence is strength. It is the strength to hold your center when everything around you is trying to pull you away from it. It is the courage to observe rather than react, to choose peace over the need to be seen, heard, or validated at every moment. There is a tremendous power in knowing when not to speak. Silence allows you to conserve your energy, to channel it toward what truly matters, instead of scattering it across 1,000 meaningless conversations. Every time you choose silence over unnecessary engagement, you are exercising discipline. You are telling yourself and the world that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on battles that do not serve your higher purpose. When you stay silent, you create space, and in that space, clarity grows. You can hear your own thoughts without them being drowned out by the noise of other people's expectations, judgments, or projections. You begin to realize that not everything requires a response. Not every opinion about you needs to be corrected. Not every misunderstanding must be fought. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to let your actions, your consistency, and your peace speak for you. Carl Jung once emphasized the importance of individuation, the process of becoming your true self, separate from the masks and expectations that society imposes. Silence is a crucial part of that journey. In silence, you are not performing, you are not trying to impress, you are simply being. It is in these moments that you come closest to your authentic self, the part of you that knows your worth, even when no one else is watching or applauding. Silence also protects you. Words once spoken cannot be taken back. In moments of anger, frustration, or fear, it is easy to say things that cause harm, both to others and to yourself. But silence gives you the time to process your emotions wisely. It gives you the chance to respond rather than react, to choose wisdom over impulse. This kind of restraint is not weakness, it is profound inner strength. In practical life, the benefits of silence are countless. In personal relationships, silence can de-escalate conflict and prevent unnecessary wounds. In professional settings, silence can be a powerful negotiation tool, allowing you to listen deeply and speak with greater impact. In moments of crisis, silence can be the calm in the storm, helping you to think clearly and act decisively when others are lost in panic. But perhaps the greatest gift of silence is what it does for your soul. In silence, you reconnect with your inner world, your hopes, your fears, your dreams, your truth. You remember who you are beneath the roles you play and the noise you endure. You touch the part of yourself that does not need external validation to feel whole. Choosing silence is choosing yourself. It is an act of trust, trusting that you do not need to constantly defend, explain, or prove yourself. Trusting that truth does not need to be shouted to be real. Trusting that in the stillness you will find exactly what you need. Silence, when chosen wisely, becomes a foundation for strength, resilience, and deep inner peace. It is not the silence of fear, nor the silence of defeat. It is the silence of someone who knows their power, who knows that true growth often happens quietly, and who knows that sometimes the loudest statement you can make is simply to say nothing at all. And still stand firm. Growth is not always a loud, visible process. In fact, the most profound and lasting growth often happens in private, far away from the applause, attention, or approval of others. It happens quietly, deep within you as you make choices, confront fears, heal old wounds, and build a new way of being. Much like a tree sends its roots deeper into the earth long before it bears fruit above the ground, true personal growth begins unseen in the hidden spaces of your life. We live in a culture that glorifies external achievement. We are encouraged to announce every move we make, to share every success, and to constantly prove that we are evolving. But real growth does not require an audience. Real transformation does not need to be displayed or advertised. It is something sacred, something that unfolds in the private moments when no one is watching. When you sit with your pain, when you make a decision to forgive, when you choose discipline over comfort, when you face yourself honestly and without excuse. Privacy provides the perfect environment for growth because it removes the pressure of performance. When you are not focused on how you are perceived, you are free to be fully authentic in your efforts. You are free to stumble, to struggle, to fall apart and rebuild without shame. You are free to take the slow, messy, beautiful path of genuine change. In privacy, there is no need to pretend you have it all figured out. You can embrace the reality that growth is not linear, that it often includes setbacks, doubts, and periods of deep uncertainty. When you allow your growth to happen in private, you protect it from external influences that could distort or derail it. Not everyone will understand the journey you are on. Not everyone will support it. Sometimes sharing your process too early exposes it to criticism, envy, or misunderstanding that can shake your confidence. Keeping your growth private, at least until it has taken strong root within you, helps you nurture it safely without the noise and opinions of others weighing you down. Another reason why growth often happens best in private is because it demands introspection. True change requires you to look inward, to examine your beliefs, your habits, your wounds, and your desires with brutal honesty. This kind of inner work cannot be performed for an audience. It requires solitude, reflection, and a willingness to confront parts of yourself that you may not yet fully understand or accept. It requires patience, forgiveness, and perseverance. Things that flourish best away from the public eye. The beauty of private growth is that over time it naturally reveals itself without you needing to announce it. When you heal, people will feel your peace. When you mature, people will notice your steadiness. When you become stronger, wiser, and more authentic, it will show in your actions, your choices, and your energy. You won't have to tell anyone you've grown. Your life will speak for you. This quiet process is what makes growth so powerful, because it is earned, not performed. It becomes a part of who you are, woven into your very being, rather than just something you display for approval. It is rooted deeply, able to withstand the storms of life, because it was built patiently, privately, and with great care. In the end, private growth is an act of self-respect and trust. It is trusting the process, even when it is slow, even when it is invisible to others. It is respecting your own journey enough to protect it from noise and distraction. It is understanding that the most important transformations are the ones that happen in the quiet, and that when the time is right, the fruits of that growth will emerge naturally, without force, and in their own beautiful season. Where you place your attention is where your life will grow. This simple truth is easy to forget, especially in a world full of endless distractions and competing demands for your focus. Yet it is one of the most powerful principles you can understand. Energy flows where attention goes. Whatever you nurture with your thoughts, emotions, and time will inevitably expand and shape the quality of your life. Many people feel frustrated because they do not see the progress they want. They set goals, make plans, dream of better futures, but then they allow their attention to be hijacked by distractions, negativity, and other people's dramas. They wonder why nothing changes, but they have forgotten that attention is energy. When you constantly feed what is irrelevant, chaotic, or draining, you are stealing life from what is truly important to you. The mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of purpose, gratitude, and discipline, and then water those seeds daily with your attention, they will grow strong and beautiful over time. But if you allow weeds of comparison, fear, doubt, and resentment to take root because your attention is scattered or undisciplined, those weeds will choke out the life you are trying to build. Every moment you are either cultivating your dreams or sabotaging them based on where your attention goes. Focusing your attention does not mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means making a conscious choice about what you allow to grow inside you. Challenges will come, negative people will appear, unforeseen problems will arise, but you always have the power to choose where you direct your focus. You can choose to stay grounded in solutions rather than obsessing over problems. You can choose to build on what is working rather than endlessly mourning what is broken. This principle also teaches the importance of being intentional with your daily habits. What you consistently give your attention to shapes your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. If you devote time each day to learning, improving, and building, those actions will accumulate into powerful changes. If you waste hours each day on distraction, your energy is precious. Spend it wisely. Another key aspect of this truth is emotional focus. Many people think energy is only about physical effort, but your emotions also direct your energy powerfully. If you constantly focus on anger, fear, or resentment, you drain yourself. Your mind becomes clouded, your body becomes stressed, and your spirit becomes heavy. But when you focus on hope, gratitude, courage, and perseverance, you energize yourself. You renew your mind, strengthen your heart, and raise your spirit. Learning to master your attention is learning to master your life. It requires awareness, noticing when your focus is drifting toward what depletes you. It requires discipline, pulling your mind back toward what empowers you. And it requires patience, because like any good garden, the fruits of careful focus take time to grow. But the reward is immense, a life that feels purposeful, peaceful, and deeply aligned with your true values. There is a timeless truth that many forget. Your actions will always speak louder than your words. In a world where talking has become easy and promises are often made casually, true power lies in what you do, not what you say. Words can be beautiful, persuasive, and inspiring, but without the foundation of action, they lose their weight. Action, however, carries a language of its own. It communicates your values, your priorities, and your commitment in a way that no speech ever can. It is tempting to want to explain yourself constantly, to defend your choices, or to convince others of your worth. But the truth is, you never need to shout your value when your actions quietly demonstrate it. Over time, people will stop listening to what you say and start observing what you do. They will watch how you show up, how you treat others, how consistent you are, and how true you remain to your own principles. Your actions will either build your credibility or dismantle it, regardless of the words you use. When you focus on action over explanation, you free yourself from the exhausting need for validation. You no longer have to persuade others to believe in you, because your consistent efforts and results will speak for themselves. You create a foundation of trust, not just with others, but within yourself. Every time you take action aligned with your goals and values, you reinforce your own sense of integrity. You prove to yourself that you can be trusted to follow through. Living this way requires a quiet kind of confidence. It means letting go of the need for immediate recognition. It means being willing to work in silence, to build when no one is watching, and to stay committed even when applause is absent. True success is built into invisible moments. The hours of practice, the late nights of planning, the patient, persistent steps that often go unseen by the outside world. There is something powerful about people who let their actions do the talking. They move through life with a steady strength. They don't have to advertise their growth or broadcast their intentions because their results eventually become undeniable. There's no need for them to argue or boast. Their lives are their statement. Their progress, their peace, their presence, all become the natural evidence of the work they've done in silence. Moreover, choosing action over words protects your energy. Every moment spent explaining or defending yourself is a moment you could have spent building something better. When you stay focused on action, you remain rooted in what truly matters, not in opinions, judgments, or temporary misunderstandings. You understand that real change happens not in the talking. This principle is also deeply connected to self-respect. When you honor your dreams with action, you show yourself that your goals are worth the effort. When you respond to adversity not with endless complaints, but with determined action, you build resilience. You teach yourself that you are capable, resourceful, and strong, and this inner trust becomes an unshakable foundation that no criticism can touch. In the end, your legacy will not be measured by what you said you would do. It will be measured by what you actually did. It will be found in the lives you touched, the goals you achieved, the values you lived by, not just once, but day after day, through your actions. So the next time you are tempted to explain, to argue, or to seek validation, remember, you don't have to. Stay silent. Keep working, keep growing. Let your results announce you. Let your peace, your strength, and your quiet victories tell the story. In the end, your actions will say far more about you than words ever could. And they will say it with a truth and a power that no one can deny. Detachment is one of the greatest skills you can develop if you seek lasting clarity and peace. In a world full of chaos, strong emotions, and endless demands on your attention, detachment offers a path to freedom. It does not mean you stop caring or become cold. True detachment means you care deeply, but you refuse to let external circumstances, other people's opinions, or temporary setbacks control your inner world. Most people suffer not because of what happens to them, but because of their attachment to how they believe life should unfold. They are attached to outcomes, attached to being understood, attached to winning every argument, attached to needing approval. But when you live in a state of attachment, you give away your power. You let the outside world determine your happiness, your peace, your sense of worth. The smallest disappointment can devastate you. A single criticism can derail your confidence. Every unmet expectation becomes a personal failure. Detachment, however, shifts the balance of power back into your hands. It allows you to engage fully with life, to love, to work, to dream. without becoming imprisoned by your desires and expectations. It teaches you to do your best and then let go, trusting that whatever happens, you will be able to handle it. You no longer grip tightly to outcomes you cannot control. Instead, you stay rooted in your own values, your own sense of self, regardless of what the world throws at you. When you practice detachment, clarity naturally follows. You are no longer clouded by fear, desperation, or the need for validation. You can see situations more objectively because you are not tangled up emotionally in needing a specific result. You can make better decisions because your mind is clear, calm, and focused on what you can control, your own actions, your own attitude, your own response. The detachment is not about being passive. It is about being powerful in a quiet, steady way. Peace, too, becomes possible when you detach. Instead of living in constant tension, waiting for life to meet your demands, you accept reality as it comes. You stop fighting what is. You stop chasing what does not belong to you. You find deep rest in knowing that your peace does not depend on everything going perfectly. It depends only on your ability to remain centered, to trust yourself, and to trust the greater unfolding of life.